Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Politics. Let's get right to it. Prospera, Honduras is a so-called charter city on the island of Roatan, operating, and yes, it is fully operational under its own laws and tax system. To add, it boasts its own police force and courts that do not answer to any outside authority that would include the Honduran government. In 2017, it was established and began accepting resident applications in 2021. The initiative operates under the ZEDE, ZEDE acronym, Zone for Employment and Economic Development, a law passed by Honduras in 2013 by the Honduran government as well. Because of this repeal of the Special Zone Act, $11 billion lawsuit was filed against Honduras, claiming losses in a conflict over national sovereignty versus private development from Honduras Prospera Inc. and Peter Thiel. This is the same Peter Thiel who, by the way, is attempting to establish a second Prospera Benin in the country of Benin on the west coast of Africa. That venture as yet cannot be determined whether or not that venture is etched in stone or whether or not they'll have a Prospera Benin over in Benin. However, Prospera Honduras was only able to establish itself in Honduras because of Presidents Juan Hernandez, and yes, that's the same Juan Hernandez who was pardoned earlier this year by President Trump for narco trafficking, and as well, President Porfirio Pepe Lobo Sosa. This guy is under investigation by the Honduran government. And he's actually in Honduras. Juan Hernandez, no one knows his whereabouts as to date. In any respect, they were both key figures in establishing the legal framework that allowed Prospera Honduras to operate in the country. Eric Bremen is the primary founder, CEO, and driving force behind Prospera in Honduras. Prospera Honduras is designed as a platform for innovative governance and economic development. Key affiliate developers they include co-founders Joe Bongard and Gabe DiGallo, and with backing from investors like Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen. Okay, the project now faces legal challenges from the Honduran government regarding the status. Yeah, I know that was long-winded and long. However, I want to include a clip that we have from the PBS NewsHour. This clip will help explain what is going on with Prospera Inc. There's a lot going on with Prospera Inc. And this platform, this channel has a lot to say about that. Before we get into the clip, please like, share, and comment. Subscribe to All Things Politics. We would appreciate your viewership and participation. Now on with the clip. And this is courtesy of PBS NewsHour. Okay.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez as we turn to Honduras, where communities are fighting back against privatization and foreign exploitation. The Honduran president, Xiomara Castro, and the UN Congress repealed a law enacted by the previous right-wing administration that established what are known as Economic Development and Employment Zones, or SHADYs. The law also allowed the private cities and special economic zones to have functional and administrative autonomy from the national government, which opponents say is a threat to Honduran sovereignty and the livelihood of local communities. Now, a Delaware-based corporation called Prospera has launched a case to challenge the repeal of the law under the Dominican Republic Central America Free Trade Agreement. The company established one of the zones on the island of Roatan and is now seeking almost $11 billion, which amounts to nearly 2/3 of Honduras's entire 2022 budget.
Now, consider this for a moment. And an $11 billion lawsuit. The budget of Honduras is what, 30 billion, if that. So it puts them in quite a pickle. It would probably make them think or feel as though, okay, let's not go and try to fight this, because if we do, we'll lose $11 billion from the GDP, and we can't afford that. So chances are there's a possibility that they'll buckle and allow Prospera to continue its project, whatever that project is.
Last month, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren and 32 others in the U.S. Congress released a letter calling on the Biden administration to intervene, writing, quote, "Large corporations have weaponized and continue to weaponize this faulty and undemocratic dispute settlement regime to benefit their own interests at the expense of workers, consumers, and small businesses globally." For more, we're going to Brussels, Belgium, to speak with Melinda St. Louis, Director of Public Citizens Global Trade Watch. And in Honduras, we're joined by Vanessa Cardenas, the leader of the Community Council of Crawfish Rock, the area directly impacted by the PROSPERA SHADY on the island of Roatan.
Wow, she looks very, very much melanated in Honduras. Okay. Well,
we welcome you both to Democracy Now! We're going to begin in Honduras with Vanessa. Can you explain what's taking place for people to understand around the world? You've got U.S. corporations running cities? Vanessa?
I don't think she heard the question. So let's fast forward this, because that don't look as though she's aware, or her system doesn't seem to be working. Let's try
happening in Honduras.
Okay.
Well, yes, it's great to be here. Thank you so much, and I really look forward to hearing from Vanessa. It is absolutely outrageous that in Honduras, after the coup in 2009, there was this radical project to create these sedes, as you mentioned, private cities that U.S. corporations could come in and control the territory. The territory was removed from municipal jurisdictions, and then they had the power as a corporation to set their own regulatory standards, tax policy, monetary policy, security forces, have their own separate court system.
Well, security forces, from what I read earlier, there were police forces. Now, security forces has a different connotation. In fact, that could be security force could also be military. So do they have their own small military?
And basically run their own government. And in the case of Roatan, this company, Prospera, came in and established this private zone where the governance structure does not allow for representative democracy from the people of the community. And at first, the people in the community didn't even know that this was happening. It's happening in such an opaque format. And once people understood what this meant in terms of taking away Honduran sovereignty and taking away land from communities, there was massive uprising. Indigenous people, community organizations, even the largest business association in Honduras opposed this corrupt law. And so through the democratic process, fortunately, they managed to overturn this corrupt law. The Xiomara Castro administration ran on a platform of repealing this law, and they did so. They made good on their promise. The National Assembly overturned or repealed the law, and that really should be the end of the story. It's a victory for democracy in Honduras after a very dark period of right-wing rule.
Let me jump in here. Again, those who allowed or helped uh, Prospera get into Honduras were actually the presidents of Honduras. They were the presidents of the government. Again, one was Juan Hernandez. And again, if you recall, if you're willing to recall, Juan Hernandez was in federal prison in the United States. He was arrested for narco trafficking. He's a cocaine dealer. He was arrested. Trump got into office and pardoned his conviction, pardoned him from prison, federal prison. Released him. He's somewhere supposedly in the United States. No one knows where. The other president who helped facilitate Prospera Honduras get established in Honduras and actually strip the people, the native people, of their rights or their sovereignty was one Porfirio Pepe Sosa. You know, so you had these two presidents of that country as key figures allowing this American corporation, this American business into Honduras in order to run their program the way they saw fit, and in the process stripping native people of their rights and sovereignty. That's something else. Again, remember that name, Juan Hernandez and Pepe Sosa.
And then that's not the end of the story, because of the trade agreement that no one knew about, and these secretive trade rules that empower corporations to be able to challenge democratic policies outside of the court system. This is
also all things politics want to make something just perfectly clear. When we're talking about these sorts of things, what we when we talk about huge corporations and democracies, what a lot of us don't understand is that these corporations are actually the ones who got together and sat down and wrote some of these so-called democracies. United States of America is a corporation. This is what a lot of us don't understand. We don't understand that it's not necessarily a country that's ran for the people and looks out for people. It is a business. It is a business. And in this expression, it's safe to say most of these countries in South America and worldwide are ran the same way, as businesses, where corporations, super rich corporations can come over and get any swath of land, lobby the right people. Next thing you know, you have a bill in place or law passed where this part of land over here can't be used for anything but the corporation that paid for it. It should be no surprise that this actually goes on in the world. It does. It does here in the United States. It does there in South America. It does there in Africa, and especially places where people of color reside or is native to that land.
Isn't in a U.S. court. It's not in a Honduran court. It's in a private tribunal of private sector lawyers, 3 arbitrators who will decide whether to.
Actually, it's in the World Bank Court. All right.
Basically ransack the treasury of the tiny country of Honduras to the tune of $11 billion with a B, which again, as you mentioned, is would bankrupt the country. So the company is using this as an additional tool to try to bully the government to not implement the democratic will of the people. And so it's very complicated, but it's actually very simple. It's once again kind of this neo-colonial project of U.S. companies going to the region, but in this very radical way.
Yeah, I think we have Vanessa Cardenas in Honduras now, and I wanted to go to her. Vanessa, when I was in Honduras as a reporter back 30 years ago, there were already very large export processing zones, basically to manufacture goods and send them to the United States. But this is a whole other stage here of whole cities. Could you talk about how your community, Crawfish Rock, found out about this, and what the previous government had done to keep the basic information from the people?
Yes. Hello. Well, we didn't hear it from the government, of course. We heard it through a community leader, and she practically was telling us underneath because she was so scared. But she wanted the community to know. I actually got it from a colleague of mine, and she sent it through a WhatsApp messages. And we were, we had to do so much study. We had to knock on so many doors because everyone that we asked was like, no one knew about it.
And let me jump in here. This is no different from what a lot of marginalized people here in the United States experience when we talk about gentrification. A lot of us don't understand that process or why it is happening. We don't understand the back room deals, the closed door sessions that allow certain corporations or developers to come into communities that people have been in, not just their whole life, but the whole lives of those who came before them, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers. That's the thing. When corporations want to move something and they want to move it under the umbrella or guise that it's going to make more money, the government, those in government, the politicians, are more than likely, more than willing to allow this to happen because lobbyists, those who sponsor the corporations, are coming with money packets, deals, financial deals for them. And this is why we see a lot of this taking place. So when this happens and we see these developers coming into our communities and tearing down homes, taking this, doing that, and next thing you know, a whole 2 or 3 city blocks is gone, and these not high rises, but these new developments, apartment developments, almost luxury in a sense, are springing up all over, the place. No one knows how this came to be. How did this happen without the people's consent or knowledge? Same thing. It's just happening here in Honduras.
The authorities knew nothing about it. So first of all, we need to know that this SHADY, and especially SHADY Prospera, is not like the rest of the autonomous or independent zone. This is a state within a state, which will have its own judicial system. It is run by a technical secretary chosen by the camp, and the camp itself is in the shadow. No one knows who the members of the camps are. And of course, the link that it has to the narc state of Juan Orlando is very concerning to us. And their lack of transparency, they have not been transparent in anything they have done. This community is a small community. It's an ethnic community. And we, of course, has the rights to be free and previously consulted on any type of project that is being done in our community.
Yeah, that's the thing about that. Again, this is what a lot of our people all over the world treatment. This is the type of treatment a lot of our people from around the world receive. They have to deal with. Again, we're talking about people with vast sums of money who can go to any capital in any state or any, in any country's government and say, this is what we got, and as a result of what we want to do, this is what you'll receive. Help us out. And this is why we see a lot of what we see. Excuse me. Prospera, Honduras, we think is just another front, another cover for nefarious acts by those who are super rich, by those who think that they are above the law, by those who think they can do anything they choose without impunity. Just imagine that. Imagine that in your community, your neighborhood, some big corporation comes in and they aren't subject to the laws everyone else is, that they have their own laws. What allows this? Money and politicians. I think that's a sad occurrence right there. And again, the same thing is they're attempting to establish Prospera Benin on the west coast of Africa. We're hoping that that doesn't happen. That would be catastrophic. That would just be the wrong thing to do over there. That all actually depends on Patrice Talon and the Beninese government. Hopefully, again, the people will understand what's happening and not allow it to occur, not to get caught broadsided like the Hondurans did or were. This is All Things Politics. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We thank you for your time and your viewership. Take care of yourselves and one another.